So, Kim Hunter, what do you do in a day as a union representative?
Well, a typical day, you might start out thinking you're going to do unit visits where you go into your units. You meet with members you may not have met with before. That's why we try to change what time we go into units at so we can see day staff, evening staff, overnight staff. And you may have a set agenda of 4 or 5 places that you try to get to, and you could get a phone call that somebody's been terminated or that there's an investigation or harassment has been filed, and you have to stop whatever it is you were going to be doing, and you may have to drive to Kingston from Ottawa because you need to be present at a meeting if someone is being terminated from their job. So you have to be very flexible. Your vehicle becomes your office. Your day is not always set in stone, and you have to be able to be in many places at one time. So when you're driving, you're on the phone. When you're at a unit, you turn your phone off, but when you get back to your vehicle, you're checking your emails and making your phone calls back while you've got your phone turned off. The thing about being a rep is that you are the connection to the union. When you get the call, they expect you to answer. And if you're in a meeting, you got to call them right back. So beginning and end of a day, there really isn't such a thing, because you can make calls well into the evening after you've driven home from wherever you've done unit visits. So it's you've got to be flexible. There's no other way to say it. And you have to know a lot of different collective agreements.
So that's what a union representative, that's what you would do in a day. And then if you had to define what is a union representative, like their job, what do they do?
Well, as I said, they're the direct connection to the union. So we have 70,000 members in the province of Ontario, 250,000 members across Canada. Now, if you're one of 70,000 members and you need to speak to someone about your collective agreement, or if you believe there's been a violation, or you've seen something happening in the workplace and you know it's wrong, or you're being terminated, or you're being charged with something and you need to speak to a rep right away to know what your rights are, we are the face and the voice of the union. So you call us and we get you the answer, or we represent you if you're being terminated, if you're in part of the grievance process where we grieve your termination and we have to go to arbitration. We are your representative. So we are like in some cases like a lawyer, but it's paid for by everybody. So all 70,000 members pay union dues, and those union dues guarantee you representation.
But you would say this is like one of your offices.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. This is one of the offices.
You spend like I would say half your time here.
You have to be able to, you have to carry everything with you because you never know what you're going to be asked for. And we keep everything from, booklets on what is the UFCW to Bibles, because we go into certain units and we find out that a member has lost a family member, and we have to keep Protestant, Catholic, and Enduring Comfort Bibles in our vehicles in case we need to
Prince Charles.
Hand those out. When I'm needed in the city of Kingston, we have stewards in the workplace. If there's a grievance that needs to be filed, if there's a discipline meeting where the member is brought in and they're being disciplined or suspended or terminated by the employer, a steward is at the workplace representing the union to file that paperwork. But the phone call comes to me, the grievance comes to me, and my job as the union rep is to take the grievance to the next level, where I have a meeting with the employer, human resources for the company, and decide whether we should take it to arbitration. And
arbitration is a very expensive, lengthy process. So the union rep tries really hard to work out something with the employer when there's a discipline involving a unionized member. The key, I think, is that if you work in a non-unionized workplace, there is no grievance process. If you're terminated, you're terminated. You would have to go to the Ontario Labour Relations Board and try to advocate for yourself. But as a union member, your union rep advocates for you, so we are your voice. You call us, and we look after all of that process for you. When you work in a unionized workplace, your wages are often better. You are bound under a collective agreement which goes above the general offer from an Employment Standards Act. And on top of that, you get access to a union rep. You call us when you have an issue, when you have a question about your collective, when there's an issue in the workplace, when you've been terminated by the employer. Employers cannot get away with doing things when they have to deal with a union rep.